All right, we'll go ahead and get started because we want to be cognizant of everyone's time. So hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for this joint webinar between Seafood Nutrition Partnership and the FMI Foundation. My name is Jessica Miller, and I am the registered dietitian for Seafood Nutrition Partnership, and I serve as the Nutrition Communications Manager here. So we're delighted that you guys have decided to join us today for this cleverly titled presentation, National Seafood Month, Reels in the Family Meals Movement. We love fish puns over at SMP. If you have been following SMP at all, you know that we're big fans of family meals, National Family Meals Month, and the ongoing Family Meals Month movement. We thought there's no better time than right now, National Seafood Month, to highlight the symbiosis between seafood and family meals. So I am going to shine a light on the wonderful partnership today between FMI and SMP, and Crystal Register is going to kick us off, and she's going to start our presentation, and then I'll be speaking with you again to dive a little bit more into the details and resources that SMP has to offer. So Crystal, we'll give it to you.
Great, thank you so much, Jessica. Is everyone seeing this okay? Okay, it's so nice to be here with you today, Jessica, especially, and with all of you in the audience. Today, I come to you wearing many hats. So, of course, first and foremost, I know we have many registered dietitians interested in this session with us today. So as a fellow RDN, hello to everyone. And next, of course, I've been working at FMI, the Food Industry Association, for the past year and a half, where I serve as the lead coordinator and issue expert for health and well-being programs and activities kind of across the industry, so nutrition policy and operations and communications issues. I also come to all of you as a former retail dietitian. I was with Wegmans for 12 years and made some good contribution with a lot of our wellness programs, things that were for customers and employees alike, with community events, nutrition events in the community, local media response, and definitely enjoyed that experience, and I know many of you come to us from that retail space as well. Last but far from least, I work closely with the FMI Foundation on the implementation of the Family Meals Movement and National Family Meals Month. So let's get started, and I'd like to start by thanking the Seafood Nutrition Partnership for co-hosting this webinar today. Moreover, I'd like to thank Seafood Nutrition Partnership for being such a great partner specifically for a few reasons. So in my role, as I described it, as Director of Health and Wellbeing at FMI, there's just such great synergy. For my sharing my passion for as a family meals champion for the family meals movement, especially, and also as a seafood lover, committed to cooking and enjoying seafood meals on a regular basis with my own family. Very important reason to me. And I'm so fortunate in my current role at FMI because I really sit with a unique vantage point to explore all of our research resources that provide so many insights into consumer behavior from a health and well-being perspective, from a shopping perspective, and from that family meals perspective. So I thought it would be good if we start by taking a closer look at some of the research from that family meals perspective. And it's so great that we're rolling right off of September as National Family Meals Month, right into October as National Seafood Month. So for starters, let's back up a little bit. If you're not familiar with the National Family Meals Month, which is September, let me briefly tell you more about that. National Family Meals Month was started to encourage consumers to have one more meal together at home each week. We reasoned that if we could just get consumers to achieve that one more meal, the results would be exponential. And the FMI Foundation created the campaign with all the turnkey materials ready to use. Then we worked with retailers, suppliers, and community collaborators to take the campaign and run with it. It's exactly what they did. There's absolutely no fee to participate, and the response from everyone throughout the years really has been extraordinary. And I'm proud to say that that month has been so successful through the years that it's grown into an official year-round movement. So when we started, this flashback, right? When we started planning for the first National Family Meals Month back in 2014, we did a lot of research and found tons on the myriad benefits of family meals. So here's a quick look back at the very first infographics. So when we were creating these, it was a challenge to select the information to highlight, because we found compelling studies on so many different advantages, such as people who eat more family meals together have better nutrition, more emotional balance. Kids who eat more meals with their families do better in school, and they're actually less likely to engage in risky behaviors. So we thought if everyone only knew these facts, who wouldn't want to have more family meals? To go one step further, we commissioned the Pentultimate study with Shannon Robson, a PhD, MPH, and a registered dietitian who's an assistant professor in the Department of Behavioral Health and Nutrition and a principal investigator at the Energy Balance and Nutrition Lab at the University of Delaware. So Robson and her team employed a systematic review as well as a meta-analysis of all relevant studies published in a peer-reviewed journal in English prior to December 2018. So bringing that all together, the results were nothing short of impressive. In fact, we're not the only ones to think so. Robson's study was published last year in the prestigious Journal of Nutrition Education and Behavior. And if you didn't read the study yet, we do have a link on our Family Meals website, but we're happy to share the highlights now too. So this study very clearly builds on previous research that provides definitive proof of the value of family meals. The big headline is this. This study proves that more frequent family meals are associated with better dietary outcomes and family functioning outcomes. And you can see here everything that went into this study. Again, the study proves more frequent family meals are associated with better dietary outcomes and family functioning outcomes. So this particular finding is the one that we love the most as registered dietitians, right? Family meals increase fruit and vegetable consumption. Overwhelmingly, studies evaluated by the researchers showed a positive relationship between family meal frequency and fruit and vegetable intake. And this was true when examined separately, so just fruits or just vegetables, but also when fruit and vegetable intake were combined. We also love this finding. The second major and extremely significant outcome of this study, family meals improve family functioning. Nearly all the studies included in the systematic review and meta-analysis demonstrated a positive relationship between family meal frequency and measures of family functioning. And let's take a look at how we define the family functioning. It's family connectedness, communication, expressiveness, and problem solving. And the positive relationship between greater family meal frequency and higher family functioning indicates that family meal frequency may serve as a proxy for family functioning. So I love this slide. Every year we've tracked the reach of the National Family Meals Month campaign, and now we're literally tracking billions of media impressions each year. Correspondingly, we continue to track extraordinary changes in consumer awareness, attitudes, and behaviors related to family meals. So the results are in, and you're seeing them here, of the most recent Harris poll measurement of how we fared with the 2021 National Family Meals Month campaign. So this year, as you can see, 31% of the American population reported seeing or hearing about the National Family Meals Month. And it's down just a little bit from last year, but not by much, and it's still higher than 2019. So the more important stat for me is down at the bottom there. Of the 31% that saw our message, 95% say that has impacted their behavior. They're taking action. So on the right side of the screen, you'll see that 55% of households with children reported seeing family meals promotions. And of that group, a whopping 97% said they took action with our messaging, making a difference in their shopping and consumption habits. It's behavior change. So on this slide, you'll notice the shift in messaging that occurred right there on the tablecloth. Stay strong with family meals. So sensitive to the stay-at-home orders and restaurant closures that during the beginning of the pandemic that were forcing more people to have meals at home, we decided the message, stay strong with family meals, felt like a good way to encourage families to focus on the benefits of just gathering around the table together for a meal. So we also found that family meals just might be one of the silver linings within the dark clouds of this pandemic. In fact, our research shows that Americans actually are staying strong with family meals. So let me take a minute and explain how. For starters, we have this ongoing research, and according to this barometer, which is the continued research from July 2021, Staying Strong with Family Meals, 87% of Americans say they are cooking with their families the same amount or more than before the pandemic. 86% of Americans say they're having the same amount or more in-person family meals than before the pandemic. And 75% say they're having the same amount or more virtual family meals. And I love this photo to show that. Half of Americans feel somewhat or much more connected to their families and loved ones. Of those having in-person family meals, 70% feel more connected, and of those cooking together, 71% feel more connected. Family meals are the #1 strategy for Americans to stay connected, and 58% of Americans plan to have more family meals to stay connected in the future, and 45% plan on cooking more together to stay connected. We may have spent an extraordinary amount of time with our families during the pandemic, but the family meals experience really has been a highlight. As you can see, 9 out of 10 Americans feel positive about family meals. It's a good way to share time, makes me feel more connected. It's an important part of routine and a high point of the day. We're not the only ones noticing, and I love this as well. The American Heart Association recently released a white paper titled Psychological Health, Well-Being, and the Mind-Heart-Body Connection, a scientific statement from the American Heart Association. This was published, as you can see, in their journal called Circulation. This paper supports the concept that sharing a meal as a family has emotional, mental, and physical benefits. Family meals can increase resilience, lower risk of depression, and boost self-esteem. And there's a substantial body of good quality data showing clear associations between psychological health and reduced cardiovascular disease risk. So literally, as you see here, the mind, the heart, and the body come together at the family table. So combine the findings from the American Heart Association study with the data from our study from the Journal of Nutrition and Education Behavior, and we're able to say with confidence, family meals are good for the heart, again, figuratively and literally. So the most comprehensive studies to date prove that family meals improve nutrition and emotional well-being. So now let's take a closer look at some of our recent FMI research to see how consumers feel about improved nutrition and their overall health and well-being. FMI's current Power of Health and Well-Being in the Food Industry report is a one-stop shop of health and well-being insights. So it summarizes and pulls from many research reports conducted all throughout the year, and they all have a specific emphasis on nutrition, health, and well-being summarized in this report. So the report really tells the story of the changing landscape in a time of transformation in the food industry as it relates to health. And as we know, consumer interest in preventing illness and strengthening immunity certainly accelerated through the pandemic. We know there's a direct scientific connection between food and health reflected in the core elements of the dietary guidelines, linking healthy eating patterns to improved health. The desire for enhanced immunity has created a whirlwind of innovation and new products in the marketplace, but interestingly, also a focus on realistic and practical approaches to eating. Some of you know, I often use the phrase sweet potato mission to refer to the importance of including basic nutrient-rich foods when we emphasize the encouragement of overall health and well-being, and when we have these immune support conversations. So the key really is to include these naturally better for you, nutrient-rich choices. And the sweet potato mission is meant to ensure these most accessible nutrition foods really don't get left behind in the quest for immune supportive, better for you solutions. And the mission really is elevated when partnered with meal ideas, cooking techniques, serving suggestions, and recipes that include these nutrient-rich foods. So we could also look at this as the seafood mission, and we'd be equally on target promoting naturally better for you foods to help build really wholesome family meals. So the findings you see here are from our U.S. Grocery Shopper Trends 2021 report. And they provide a bigger picture of the claims that shoppers seek when purchasing a food product. And most shoppers say they do look for at least one health-related product claim when shopping. These study findings are also reported in the Power of Health and Wellbeing, and they show the attributes that shoppers seek most, and they tend to fall in these specific themes that are blocked out there along the right side. And the biggest themes are avoiding negatives, like low in sugar, low in sodium, no added sugar, minimal processing is another category, whole grains and fiber, ethical practices, heart health, and positive nutrition. Okay, so seafood doesn't fit with the whole grains theme, though I'm here to tell you seafood pairs great with whole grain sides on the plate when you're making a family meal, right? But seafood really does boast so many of these other sought after attributes, avoiding the negatives, minimal processing, ethical practices, heart health, and of course, positive nutrition. So nutrition and health are important reasons why consumers choose specific food categories, especially now. This has proven to be even more true over the past year. So during the pandemic, the industry really has seen significant sales increases in many categories for this reason, including produce and seafood. So these findings you're seeing here are from the Power of Seafood 2021, and this snapshot is also included in the Power of Health and Wellbeing report, but they show that 72% of frequent seafood customers have been putting somewhat or much more effort into selecting nutritious and healthy options during the pandemic. So we see 2/3 of seafood consumers say nutrition and health are the primary or very important reason they eat seafood. Note that 74% want to know more about the nutritional benefits of seafood, and 71% want to know more about seafood sustainability. The seafood category sure was a leader in sales growth during 2020 as consumers adapted to preparing and cooking more seafood at home. Seafood sales posted an overall increase of 28%. And as you can see, the growth took place across frozen, which was up 36%, fresh up 25%, and grocery up 21%. And another note here is that the increases were evident across all species of seafood as well. So many seafood consumers are impacted by claims about specific nutrition and nutrients in seafood. The most appealing claims to consumers include high quality protein, healthy fats such as omega-3s, and just being lower in fat in general. And also impactful are more broad-based health claims like heart health and contains essential nutrients and of course immune support. So half of seafood consumers say that having no additives or solutions also has a major impact on their decision to eat seafood. And here, the last FMI Research resource I want to highlight today is the most recent Food as Medicine Opportunity in Food Retail report. And this report was produced in conjunction with the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics Foundation to help raise the profile of food as medicine and garner widespread understanding and acceptance of the definition as provided by the Academy, which is grounded in science. And our goal is really to better guide retailers and industry partners in delivering programs that connect food to health for consumers in practical ways. So in this report, consumers are leveraging food to promote health and well-being and to manage disease. Based on responses that are included, this was responses to an FMI national survey on food as medicine. Consumers report including food groups from the Dietary Guidelines for Americans to gain specific health benefit, which is great news, right? For dietitians, for retailers, for consumers, for merchants, and this is great news for seafood. So specific to seafood, you can see that 67% of consumers are somewhat or closely following the recommendations to include seafood. Conversely, though, and I think this stands out, that orange bracket, 27% of consumers are aware of the benefits, the health benefits, but they're not including seafood. So this is the crowd we need to reach more effectively. And perhaps the way to reach these folks is not through the nutrition lens, but through the family benefit lens, which leads us to family meals. And we know there are barriers to overcome if and when consumers are not familiar or used to buying or storing or prepping, cooking, or eating seafood at home. So again, perhaps the way to reach this broader crowd is through the family meals lens, with the inclusion of seafood as a practical, convenient, family-friendly, delicious, and nutritious part of the family meal. So with that, Jessica, I think it's the perfect time for me to hand the baton back to you, and we can circle back to all of the nice resources that you have to share.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. That was really interesting information. And I really like what you said about how maybe we're not, if we don't reach them through the nutrition lens, maybe we can reach them through the family meals lens, because as a mama, we want that benefit for our children. So I know just as difficult as it is to get everyone around the table and have a family meal together. I've got 3 little boys and they're in sports. So basically every night we have practices, and getting us all at the dinner table. I saw a meme the other day that said we either have to eat dinner at 4 p.m. or 9 p.m. And I can relate, because it is a challenge. So that's why we're here, and that's why we want to get these messages out and try to do whatever we can to make it easier for families. So according to the 2020 Power of Seafood report, compared to the average consumer, the seafood consumer has a higher average household income and spends more on groceries than the average shopper. So you really want this consumer in your stores. I kind of take things from a retail dietitian standpoint, since that was where my background was. So I'm kind of looking at this through that lens. When seafood is part of the basket, the average basket size almost triples. So seafood customers represent a valuable segment of shoppers. And again, this is someone you want in your store. You want to keep them in your store, and you want to figure out what you can do to keep things fresh and interesting and have new promotions and keep the seafood case exciting. Let's see. So in response to the pandemic, it was about March of 2020, S&P launched the Eat Seafood America campaign, and where it says, how can you help? You might not be able to tell, but that's a live link that you can click, and it'll take you to our website and show you the Eat Seafood America page and resources that we have. So we've launched a successful campaign, and it's reached millions of Americans. Consumers, it's helping really to encourage them to eat sustainable seafood for their health and to help support the U.S. seafood industry. You know, there was a large disruption in the supply chain when the pandemic started. We had a lot of seafood, and with restaurants shut down, it had to go somewhere. So a lot of it shifted to retail, and then we had to figure out how to get consumers to buy it. So that's where our consumer-facing campaign went out, and we provided downloads, shareable social media posts, blogs, recipes, videos on how to cook seafood. Really kept it really basic for families, because people, just like Crystal said, they're kind of intimidated about seafood and knowing how to cook it, or maybe they're not super comfortable with it. So we worked to try to change that. But this is all information on the Eat Seafood America campaign page that you guys can use, you guys can download and share out to your platforms. So we've done the work for you. There's no need to reinvent the wheel with a lot of these things. But we had really positive benefits out of this Eat Seafood America campaign. People who saw the campaign were 3 to 4 times more likely to have increased seafood consumption, which is exactly what we wanted. So we're very happy about that. And healthy eating was the leader in growth for people that are eating seafood. They want healthy options. So Seafood Nutrition Partnership, we are here to inspire Americans to enjoy seafood at least twice a week. You guys know the American Heart Association and several other leading health organizations promote seafood twice a week and endorse seafood twice a week. And really, we just want customers to add more seafood to their diet, whatever that looks like for them. If they're only eating seafood once a month, we want to encourage them to 2 times a month. You guys know, as dietitians, we just want people to meet them where they're at and try to reach them where they're at. So again, here's a live link to our Family Meals Toolkit. This we made in conjunction with FMI, so you can click this link. You can click it right now during this presentation. It'll take you to another window, and you can check out our toolkit with lots of our resources in there. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys do that. And I think Tom will share out and Crystal will share out this presentation after the recording, so you guys will have access to all those. But within that toolkit, you'll see some of these handouts. These are some examples. The Ultimate Guide to Buying Seafood. So this is something that you guys can print and you can put at seafood counters for customers to grab. If they don't know what to buy, they don't know where to start, you at least have a resource to hand to them. They can take it home, because a lot of times when you're in the grocery store and you're wearing a mask right now and you don't want to talk to a lot of people, you have resources though to bag stuff, hand them at the counter, have your dietitians in the store, or give these to your clients and consumers if they don't know where to start. Well, here's how to buy seafood. And then we move that into how to cook seafood. So this next one is a 2-page handout here that you can print. And it shows you just the basics, what species, how to cook them, how you might go about that, and just really tries to help guide that. And then also seafood for type 2 diabetes. This is just an example of some of the health type handouts we have. As we know, November is Diabetes Awareness Month. And one out of 10 Americans have diabetes right now. So there's people shopping in your stores and people you're meeting with that have diabetes, that are shopping within the specific disease state and trying to learn how to support that. So we have handouts kind of basically around every month. We have some for Heart Health Month in February, and the list goes on. So here's just some promotion ideas, some different things, and these are directly, some of them are pulled out of the toolkit. So you can see sample social media posts. So you can use any of our social media posts. That's why we created them for you to use. You can customize them, but you don't have to do all the work yourself. So it's a good idea to send these to your marketing departments, or you can put them out on your own page. You can put them in newsletters, any of these ideas. Kids cooking classes, you could feature a catch of the week, have a little cooking class, and you don't have to have a classroom necessarily to do that, but you could just put a couple tables out within your grocery store and promote it that way. Teach kids how to peel and eat shrimp and give them a coloring page of a seafood species and a couple handouts, and there you go, you have a successful promotion. You could do these 15-second in-store announcements. Again, we've written them for you. They're super easy. I used to have my dietetic interns just get on the thing, and they would just do the announcements every 30 minutes or so during in-store events and just really drive consumers to that seafood case. You can have your dietitians blog about family meals movement, highlighting their favorite store seafood department. Get in touch with your favorite store seafood department. Offer to do some highlights on what they have. They want you to do that, obviously. Also, in-store ideas. You can utilize, like I showed you, some of our handouts. We have so many that you guys can print, bag stuff, hand out, have dietitians hand out. Even think about working with, this is kind of off the wall, but maybe your colleges, like they have marketing departments and they have dietetic programs, and all these students need experiences and they need volunteer work and things like that. So it's free labor to you, and we use those a lot at my retailer. We just said, hey, we're having an event. We need volunteers. We need people to demo, and give them a little training. And if they can talk to a shopper or a customer or something, that's a successful promotion. And this is just an example of cross-channel promotion that S&P did with a retailer. And it really shows you how you can execute this not just on one platform, but across multiple platforms, in-store and digitally. So we have things that were in the store there for consumers to grab. We had wobblers. You can have that supported by social media posts and pictures. And then you can just see some of these examples here. So this just gives you an idea. I would really discourage siloed promotions and siloed things that you're doing in the seafood sector. So if you have something on sale, a seafood item, then you need to let dietitians know. You need to let your marketing department know. Talk with your buyers and really get this to live across multiple channels and multiple ways to reach shoppers. Because, I remember we spent so much time in our ad meetings, like looking at the ad, talking about the ad, and I'm thinking, I don't look at an ad. My friends don't look at ads. Nobody I know looks at ads. But some people do. So we needed to have that social media component, and then we needed to have the print component, and then you need to figure out where your shoppers are. So just sharing some of my experiences. And this is, prior to my life at S&P, this is a cooking class we did with my retailer. So we worked with the broker. So the broker came to the class. We had our seafood buyer come to the class. And then obviously myself, the dietitian, came to the class. We gave out free samples. And then we made, I think, 3 or 4 different recipes and gave everybody a little taste. It was just enough for like 2 bites for everybody. We gave them coupons. S&P sent resources. You guys can print any of our resources. And it was just a really fun night. I think we even got one of the wine guys to come and do a few wine samplings because obviously they want to promote their product. But we also shared it on our Instagram stories, different seafood items throughout Family Meals Month and National Seafood Month, and just really found new ways to reach shoppers. And we know that sometimes the best way to market is by word of mouth and people that attended the class saying to their friends, hey, I attended this cooking class and I think they've got one next month. And then that's how you want it to spread. Sometimes you want other people to tell people how awesome you are, right? So that's just an example there. And then guide to answering consumers' questions. So this is something that you could give to your seafood counter guys. Again, you could have a marketing student work with you. You could have dietetic students or dietitians. And then even if you're doing clinical or you're counseling patients and you don't feel comfortable answering questions, feel free to use these handouts as guides. They have studies in there, they have messaging and just different ways you can talk about seafood because it can be a complicated topic and industry. So this can kind of help guide. Again, we have done the work for you. So even if it's a random question, Andrea or I at S&P, just shoot us an email and we'll help you because that's what we're here for. We also have this content calendar. So again, the work's done for you, plug and play, but this can kind of help guide your promotions. So share this with your marketing departments, share this with your digital teams. Use this even if you're writing newsletters for your own business, whatever you're doing, to kind of help guide your messages. June for grilling, September, Family Meals Month, October, National Seafood Month. Just kind of some ideas. And on the S&P website too, there's resources for every month that you can click and use and share out as well. All right, and then I just want to encourage you to reach out to Andrea and I, our communications team. We are here to help you. If you need a resource, a one-pager, any sort of marketing idea, or you just want to talk through a promotion that you're doing, that's what we're here for. We're here to help. We're here to help shoppers, customers, clients eat more seafood, get more seafood on the table. We're just trying to find unique ways to reach them because it's changing all the time. But we have more momentum in creating change when we work together, right? I'll leave you with one of my favorite quotes by Henry Ford. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. So that's something we need to keep in mind as we're thinking about how to promote this stuff. Crystal, I'll go ahead and kick it back to you.
Great, thank you, Jessica. And I love that it's just so perfect for why you and I are together here today too. This idea of moving forward together, that the National Family Meals movement is a year-round movement. The resources you shared are fantastic. I noticed that Andrea noted in the chat, if anyone sees that there's a joint FMI seafood calendar coming out. That's fantastic to know that any of these materials from either the Seafood Nutrition Partnership side of the house or from FMI you can co-brand them, you can take them and run with them. But really, Jessica, what I'd like to note, and I come from that space too, where in the retail space, where helping customers get over some of those humps with how do I buy? Are my kids going to like a recipe? How do I make it fun? This is why the Stay Strong with Family Meals slogan, I think, really resonates too, because we all want to just provide inspiration. And I'm here to tell you, once someone learns how to buy seafood, how to keep it on hand, it can become, right, the most convenient last minute meal that the family really loves. But once you learn that, you can't unlearn it. Right. So if you get comfortable buying seafood, creating meals, taking on these new recipes and ideas, and just really enjoying delicious seafood at home, it's something that the future, I think, is so bright with this partnership together. So, and I would encourage anyone, as Jessica has to reach out and see how we can partner. And if I can just take a couple minutes and then we'll open up for questions, but I just want to also show that we have We have some resources. So if anybody wants to also jointly use some of the Seafood Nutrition Partner resources, but also jump on this FMI Foundation Family Meals Movement bandwagon, we encourage you to do that. So I want to just show you for the past 7 years, the foundation really has done a nice job creating resources. So there's a consumer website. And the website has some easy to understand language that addresses why family meals matter, and it's being updated as we speak. So it's I promise even more beautiful and useful and practical information there. And in contrast to the consumer website, we also have an industry collaborator website with lots of tools to help all of you, especially if you're in that retail space. There's specific toolkits. So there is a retailer toolkit. There's a community collaborator one. There's also a food manufacturer toolkit. And I think a lot of you will see how you can tailor this to your own work. We created a best practice guide to show award-winning ways, and this part's really fun, just to see how other folks have embraced the family meals movement. And that I think is fun to see, that how all these different campaigns have been successfully deployed through the years. And one of the most popular tools we have are infographics. Who doesn't love a good infographic? In fact, we have created dozens of them, and they make family meals messaging easy. They're all supported by science. I know I've seen a lot of dietitians in social media using these infographics, and I love to see that, because they are very encouraging. They're based in the science. Each year we create a new batch based on the current research. So many are also translated into Spanish. Some are also video form, so they are perfect for your social media campaign and inclusion in other printed materials. And last year, a partner even used them as a door cling in the frozen food section, so we love that too. And last, we have graphics and logos, so you can take them and grab them. You can find them in their own section on the graphics and logos. Use them for free on any of your materials. And having this logo on your materials just demonstrates that you've officially raised your mitt. There you can see along the bottom, raising your mitt was our slogan to commit to supporting this broader family meals campaign. So I think I'll go back to this slide maybe, and we'll open it up for questions, or I can go back to your information as well. Jessica, do we have any questions from anyone? Is there anything else you want to add to, Jessica?
I think I just really want to encourage people to reach out and think outside the box, really. I think we get so siloed in what we're doing, and we don't think to bring other people into the conversation and partnering and talking to each other. That's how we get this out there, right?
Absolutely. We'll take either questions in the chat, or if anyone wants to. It looks like all of your microphones and cameras are enabled. If anyone actually wants to join us on camera, that would be great too.
Oh yeah, there's Melissa Joy.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Crystal. Hi.
It's so great to see you.
It's been a while. This is a great presentation. Thank you so much. I had a little trouble with Microsoft Teams, so I apologize for popping in late.
Let's see, Andrea. Andrea, do you have anything to add? We have somebody. I feel like I could talk forever on all the things we have.
No, I thought it was great. It's been a pleasure. We've been working really closely with FMI since, I think, before my time, even since our founding, and about 8-9 years ago. And it's just been a great collaboration and great partnership, because our missions align really well.
Great.
I want to see more people, but
People get used to having their cameras
I
on
miss
now.
seeing people.
Oh, there's Laura.
Well, there's some.
One of my favorite seafood fans. And
Hi, guys.
another favorite seafood fan.
I will say this is totally random, but one thing, just when we're talking family meals, that my children have loved is they make these little conversation starter cards, and we bring those out on the table. My boys are like, "Get the cards, Mom, get the cards," and we sit there and we just go through those while we eat. They're super fun.
That's so great. And that, I mean, that tells the story of that family connectedness benefit of family meals too. And I know even as a dietitian, I'll share this, that I'm committed to include, I keep track for years and years. Am I eating seafood 2 times a week? I literally do. I have a habit tracker because I love seafood, but I just want to make sure I'm recommending other people eat seafood 2 times a week. Am I actually doing it? And it's really pushed me to that point where if I get to Friday and I know I only have a couple more days, do I even have seafood on hand, right? So and I think nudging consumers in the same way, like first you have to buy it, right? Then you have to store it. You have to learn how to prep it and use it. So all your resources are so valuable in that process. And then also keeping the nutrition piece there, that like we know consumers are more focused on that nutrition piece. If we can say that the guideline is just include it 2 times a week, right? Make it once and have leftovers once, right? But then also the just a piece of enjoying a family meal at home too, and knowing you're getting that benefit.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 little kids, 3 and almost 6, and they're picky eaters. And so I found that we really want to make sure that they're eating the foods that we eat as well, but they don't love, they have their own taste profiles and their own quirks. Like they don't like mixed things. They have those plates that have individual components. And so I'll do like a piece of fish with no seasoning on it, just broiled, maybe with some salt and pepper, and have that for them. Or like we love a good tuna melt for dinner every once in a while, but my son will not eat a sandwich. But if I put that same tuna just in one compartment and some crackers for him in another compartment, he likes it. So they're eating the same thing as us, but in a slightly different way, and I don't have to make 2 whole meals.
Right.
Yeah.
We know just that family exposure to probably one of my proudest moments when my youngest, her second year in college, it was the first, in an apartment, shopping and cooking for herself. And when she sent a picture of a piece of pan-seared salmon and vegetables, and a whole grain side to me, just proudly showing me what she made by herself for dinner. There's nothing better than that. It's habit building too. It's the exposure, it's a comfort level, it's habit building. And I'm here to tell you, she was one of the most particular young eaters around. So it was just like, it's a great, and she recognizes it's a great, healthy habit as well that she wants to continue with. And it is all about the presentation, right? Make it fun. Even one of my favorite local seafood restaurants here I live in Annapolis, Maryland, every single entree and appetizer that comes out has a single goldfish, like a goldfish cracker on it. And I think that even I've looked around and seen younger children, even that makes a seafood plate more appealing to these kids because they want to find, sometimes it's hidden a little bit. They want to find that little goldfish on their seafood dinner.
Cute.
That's funny. That's a good idea.
Yeah, there's a recipe that we used a couple of years ago from Starkiss that Laura provided us. And it's a tuna panini, but they cut the bread out in the shape of a fish. And we took that concept, and my kids love all the different cut shapes that we cut into the bread. And it's one of the only ways I can get my son to eat a sandwich, but it just makes food fun for them.
That was one of my favorites.
You wouldn't think the shape of a sandwich would make a difference, but it does.
It does.
There's also a lot of innovation, a lot of innovations happening, because I think about 2 years ago when Trident came out with the seafood noodles, and that's just like, the zucchini noodles in the produce department. Children sometimes, if they see it differently, they'll eat it. The innovation is going to help as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's
And
just
that's
like some children like raw, carrots raw and broccoli cooked, or vice versa. I think it's those different taste buds. And
our members are describing their sales out of the frozen seafood department as being extraordinary now, because a lot of that is either semi or fully pre-prepared. So it's kind of a recipe already done. All you have to do is heat it up, and the package gives you instructions. And you know how consumers sometimes are afraid of, butchering their seafood when they cook it. Now they can go to the frozen department, and there's fillets and all kinds of different fish that is ready, quick frozen and ready to be cooked. So that's also exciting.
It's a great point, Rick. It's like changing that mindset too, that I can have something on hand that I think historically consumers think of fish as a tedious type of meal to make, seafood. But if it's frozen on hand at the ready, it can be a very last minute, properly thawed, right, and properly cooked meal.
And that
And
it
it-
thaws so much quicker, because that's usually the big
Right.
barrier for me is I didn't thaw anything and fish thaws so quickly.
It's,
Or
it's
you could
also
cook from frozen.
is seafood was always perceived as a very high cost because of the price per pound. But when you look at the price per serving, it's actually very affordable when, especially now compared to the animal protein in the meat department. It's an affordable meal. So some of that barrier of, I don't want to go, and a lot of retailers are now selling the portion as a price point. So you can buy this portion for $7.99 rather than advertise it at $24.99 a pound.
Yeah.
And that makes it much more acceptable. And you think it serves, 1 to 2 people, and that makes it a lot easier for consumers to think about going into the seafood category.
And Rick,
Yeah,
we've
we
talked a
buy
lot
things
about
when we. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Crystal.
I'm sorry. We just, I want to make a note too there on what Rick was saying and the affordability piece. We've talked a lot about now consumers looking for that option instead of going out to eat, and with prices rising to the restaurant, you can see that, maybe it's not the most affordable meal that you're making, but it's so much more affordable than that same plate of seafood at and vegetables and, the other sides at a restaurant.
They're clearly enjoying the savings versus eating out.
And that's that, we've seen an uptick in the skills and knowledge that consumers are saying. And I do believe that's the piece, that if we can increase the skills and knowledge, whether like your resources show, Jessica and Andrea, that it's about buying it or storing it or cooking it, we increase that skills and knowledge, you're gonna go with that in the future too, and continue to cook more at home.
And connecting the retail dietitians to the seafood strategy of the retailer and connecting them to what's on promotion. It's not always easy to do because there's so much happening in the store and it's so much communication, but it pays huge dividends when a consumer runs into somebody who has the knowledge and they're suggesting to them what they can do for dinner that night. That's a great choice. So I really like the emphasis you're putting on that connection between the seafood department and the retail dietitians.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was lucky at my retailer where they even gave me like a block in the ad where I would pick something on sale and be able to, or I would put like little blurbs next to the seafood, like high in omega-3s. And I got to they would give me like 5 spots to put little tips in. So I was pretty lucky in that, I think.
Everyone would be jealous of you. You're very lucky.
I know. But yeah, I hear that's important real estate. Got something in the chat too. Oh, it says, where can you find seafood noodles? We need to look at that.
I don't.
Different stores have them in different departments. Some stores are actually selling them at the fresh counter by pound. Most have them in the frozen section or refrigerated section, and they're actually already cooked and ready to go. So you can eat them cold or heat them up.
It was the best new seafood product of 2020.
I love them.
Oh. That's awesome. I'll have to get
Interesting.
some. They can make anything into a noodle now, can't they?
I think so.
A noodle or a rice.
All right, well, I hope we've left everyone, and we know this is recorded, so many other folks will have access to it. And we hope we've left everyone with plenty of resources and plenty of inspiration. So we thank you everyone for joining us today. Jessica, if there's anything else you want to add to wrap up, I think we're in good shape.
Thank you. Yeah, we are going to hopefully send out all the slides and links and things like that. So please reach out to us, and we want to help you in whatever way we can. That's why we exist, is to help Americans eat more seafood. And we know dietitians and retailers are the way to get it there. So thanks for having us.